All right. Welcome to Burn the Ship. The goal of Burn the Ship is to connect entrepreneurs with professionals that can help you go all in on your business. We talk to people that walk the walk, talk the talk, experience all the things that we experience as small business owners. We hope to take some of our experiences, the experiences of our guests, and some of their skills that help them be successful. And we really just hope to teach those same experiences to you, where we've walked and the things that we've went through. If we can shorten up anybody's learning curve or make anybody's life a little bit easier is always our goal. So I appreciate you guys spending some time with us, and anybody that dedicates the time to chat with us, chat with our audience, help out the people that we're trying to help means a lot to me. So thank you very much. It does mean a lot. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us your names and a little bit about your company.
All right. I'm Caleb Miller. We're here in North Carolina, originally from the Outer Banks, living in Raleigh now, the capital, North Carolina. And this is,
My name is Matt Paquet. I'm originally not from North Carolina. I'm from a little town right outside of Montreal, Canada, and migrated down south and avoided the cold and been here since the late 90s and have never looked back and just love it out here in North Carolina.
Sure. Tell me a little bit about your company.
so Legacy Enterprises. It's kind of a funny, it's kind of a funny story how it just kind of mashed together, if you will. So how it originated really was more of, I guess, like Matt put it, it was kind of like my brainchild by accident almost. So I was already a previous entrepreneur, owned another company, did pretty decently well with that. And, just kind of was getting burned out on it, just trying to do everything myself and, just not I've been one of those, like, I don't like asking for help. So any aspiring entrepreneurs watching this, learn from this one real quick. It is good and okay to ask for help. So that is and realizing you cannot do this whole thing by yourself. It's, kind of, we all have that little like pride issue where we're like, yeah, no, this is my thing. I can do it, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, everybody needs some help. So, um, just kind of started from like a little idea where I said, I could get rid of this other company, and, just go back to a 9 to 5 or whatever. And I was toying with it. And that's kind of how I met Matt. He was working with another company at the time, a roofing company, and I was going to join with them and just, take off as a roof salesman. I've been in sales for a long time. So I was like, hey, it's a good fit. Let's try it out. So I don't even think I sold my first roof ever, like at all with you guys. Like I just went through like the whole process, and I just couldn't shake the feeling of like, man, I've worked for myself for like 4 years. I'm not like, I can't work for other people. I don't know. So, um, ironically, my brother-in-law, who's been in corporate America for a long time, he got laid off because they sourced out all of their labor and all of their just any of their C-level employees, everything to overseas. So he kind of we got to chatting, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. What my next step is." And so I was like, "Well, I'm thinking about this roofing thing. Do you want to go do it with me?" So he's, "Yeah, I guess." And so we started a conversation, and mind you, we were gonna go over to the company that Matt was president of at the time, and we just kind of one night, my brother-in-law and I just sitting there like, "Man, we got everything we need. Let's just start our own thing. Like, why not? Let's just give it one more good go." And that was kind of like my first point where I recognized, like, I actually could make this work, with the proper help in place. So my brother-in-law being from corporate America, wonderful admin, guy. He's our director of administration now. So one of the three owners of this company. The other two are sitting right here. Um, and we started the ball rolling, and it started snowballing. And it was kind of funny that we we had started it as a soft wash company, Legacy Soft Wash. And Matt came to my house one afternoon, and we were going to partner up with the company that he was with, that we ended up not joining. And it was like angels singing in my ear when he said, man, I wish it wasn't too late to like jump in with you guys, because I've thought about entrepreneurship myself for quite a while. And I wish it wasn't too late. I was like, whoa, who said it's too late? I was like, I don't know who gave you this information, but it ain't like, nah. So we just started that. And then here we are. All three of us own this company. We now have a roofing division, roof coating division, salt and pressure wash. So, and it's cool because they all just go hand in hand. And myself, I've been, doing salt wash, pressure wash for a long time. I've been with chemicals for as long as I can remember. So, it just kind of made sense for me to step into that world. And when Matt came on, it didn't make sense to exclude the roofing world that he spent 11 years gathering expertise in that. So we just kind of married the two together, and here we are and doing very well with it at this point.
Sure.
So
it's talking about setting up the business and like what you do to kind of make that decision and get yourself off the ground. Like where do you go from there? Like, how do you go and acquire your first customers, or like what are the first things that you do once you make the decision of like, we're going to give it one more shot?
yeah, dude, it's just tenacity, man. Like it's just boots on the ground. Like you just you can't be scared to do it. Like honestly, like if you and I mean anything, like there's beauty in starting over. Like, and that's kind of like the whole story for all three of us is like there's beauty in starting over. Where we all three were nested down where we thought we were going to be, and we just hit square zero again, and we're like, all right, well, where do we go from here? And so we just started contacting anybody we knew, going door to door, like whatever we had to do to churn it up. That's what we did. And, just kind of snowballed from there to, the point where like, after we're done here, we had to go to a Harris Teeter actually, where we're looking at roof coating, the entire Harris Teeter. So it's just, just really just the tenacity of it. Like all three of us just knew we did not have the option to fail. Like
Sure.
it's, Matt and I have children, wives and things like that, they depend on us. So we're like, man, we don't have the option to fail. And as I stated before, it's a lot easier when you're not going at it by yourself.
Yeah,
sure.
And that, I've got, a grade A sales director over here beside me. I've got a grade A guy sitting in the office, and my brother-in-law, who's the wonderful admin, and then myself, who's the director of operations. So I just, I'm like, man, I know like every day is a little easier. Like I get to wake up and know that the burden is shared. Everybody's done their thing, and I'm only responsible truly for my part. And
Sure.
with the understanding of helping in other areas if need be. But yeah, I mean, it's just the tenacity of it, just like not taking no for an answer with yourself. Because you're going to get no's from customers, right? Like, you're going to get that all the time, but just not letting those no's bring you down, and then breed that into yourself of like, well, no, I'm getting a lot of no's, so maybe it's just not for me. That's you can't think that way. So
Yeah. So what was it like for you, Matt? Like you went from a position within a company that obviously you've been with for some period of time. You were in You were directing sales there, right? Like you were in control of other salespeople and helping other people kind of get where they wanted to be. So, like, what was that journey like from you from going to a place where you don't share a lot of the risk, but you do share in, a lot of the responsibility to coming to your own company where the risk is greatly enhanced, but the upside's probably a little more? Like, what was that mental journey like for you?
Well, just being in roofing for 11 years now, going from just a base salesman making just next to nothing compared to what you really can make in the industry, to being the leader in a company that had several years grossing over 5 million a year. Um, it was difficult to get to the point where you're ready for something more. And I have nothing but respect for the other company and the owner.
Mm-hmm.
I see him as an older brother and a bit of a mentor that's really helped me get to the position where I am. Um, at some point, you just need to take a step back and realize and recognize, okay, well, I'm comfortable here. Do I want to stay here, or do I want to take the risk of that leap and do something more? Because at the end of the day, the more the riskier the situation that's going to be, the greater the reward, but the farther the fall is, and the harder it hurts when you hit that bottom.
Sure.
So just figuring out where that balance is, I was really comfortable where I was for years, and just got to the point where I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready for the next leap. And getting into ownership, watching all my buddies start their own companies was one thing, but it's more of like a copy and paste of what we've all been doing. There's only so many roofing companies that you can run into, and everyone and their mom has now started a roofing company in our area. What are you going to do that's going to be different, that's going to help you guys stand out? And that's where Caleb and I putting our heads together and having he as the director of operations, myself as the director of sales, and Mark as the director of admin, where you disperse that workload properly and stay 100% in your lane that you can master. The sky's the limit at that point. And being able to bring something different to the field that hardly anyone else is doing is also really, really important. Because sure, everyone can start their own roofing company, but there's only so many roofs to sell. And you've got one of the greatest pools of competition that you're working against as well, where everyone is going to be cutthroat, trying to cut a deal as much as
For
possible.
sure.
What are you going to be doing that's going to be different, that's going to help you stand out? And figuring that out is very, very key.
And tell me a little bit about your name, like the name of your company, because from the outside looking in, right, it's like you said Mark was his name.
Yep.
So Mark and Matt were in comfortable positions with where they were. Like your job was secure, your responsibility was pretty straightforward. It seemed like you were doing a pretty good job at what you were doing. Caleb, you're kind of in a different place there where it was like you were getting rid of your other company and you had like the world was your oyster at that point. You could have gone in any direction, right?
Yep.
And still your name seems like the thing that connects you all the most because you're
It
all
does.
in a position where you could make a decision that left some sort of impact other than one customer at a time. You know what I mean? Like developing a brand that impacts your community and reflects yourself is a different journey than, entrepreneurship in itself. You can sell whatever you sell, but like the way that it makes you feel about it and the way that it makes your customers feel is a completely different thing. And I'm assuming that was a big inspiration on why you named your company what you named it. But I'd love to know the
Yeah.
story behind your name as well.
So that's actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because there was a lot of thought that went into the name. And it's a very simple word, legacy, very simple word. But it just, as we were thinking about it, that's what kept sticking out because, that we were thinking like, oh, what's going to sound cool? What just rolls off the tongue nice? Like we were kind of thinking in the wrong directions at first. Just wanting to be solely catchy, if you will. But we kind of changed our thought process up to, well, what? Why don't we just make our name mean something? Like, why does and then if it ends up being catchy and rolls off the tongue nice, then great. So we just started playing with words, like, and then like talking about our journey to where we had gotten, like what word really describes this, and not only this, but where we're going with it. So legacy is what we landed on, because we're like, this, the story of how this came together for all three of us was nothing short of like that. I mean, like Matt and I talked about it many times. That's definitely like a God thing, where it's like, all three of our lives hit the same point at the same time simultaneously, where we're like, how did that, like, it just didn't make any sense. So, we're just sitting there looking at it like, well, legacy's the perfect name, because as our children grow up and we get to hand this to them one day, um, that's what we want it to be. Like, we want it to be a legacy that, it's a story that the future can look back on a past and be proud of that past. And um, so that's why we named it this. And it's truly like what drives us every day, is just like, when it, I mean, we're cruising through some good times right now, but we still have our heart in there, sprinkled in every week, just like anybody else. But that's what keeps us going through those times, is just remembering, like, man, like, this isn't just for us. Like, yeah, it's cool when we enjoy it and we're doing what we love, but this is about leaving behind a legacy for our next generation that we've created, that's behind us. So that's really where the name Legacy Enterprises came from. So,
Sure. No, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you begin your business journey with such a big vision, um, and then you just kind of let the company take the shape that it's going to take, but you know that we have to protect this because it's something that we want to leave behind. It makes you powerful, you know what I mean? Like, it makes you to be able to do whatever you need to do to make your business work, but still the number one thing on your mind is, I've got to take care of my customer. Like, I've got to make sure the people that are giving us money are super happy about what they're giving us money about, because not only do we leave this legacy of the ability to make money, or the ability to create commerce, or whatever that may be, you leave a legacy of being good people, and meeting people where they're at, and taking care of people for what their
right.
problems are. So no, I understand that. I can relate to that, and I think that more people should think about that from a business perspective. You kind of have to begin with the end in mind, and know that the way that you represent yourself and the way that you take care of your customers is going to it's going to take the shape of your brand much
Yeah,
more than how catchy your name is. You know what I
that's right.
mean? Like 10 times as much as how good the first commercial you put is out. Like, it just takes one customer to have that amazing experience with you to lead to more business, and to lead to really understanding what it is that you do well. So I encourage people to think along those same lines. Is like, if you
Yeah.
don't begin with the idea that you're going to be this big thing, and you want how you've interacted with every single person at every rung on the way to be what your brand stands for, man, it puts you in the right headspace to wake up every morning and do the right things, for yourself
Uh,
and for your customers. So I can agree with that fully.
and
Tell me
it's
this. Oh, go ahead.
it well, just kind of like backpacking off of that, that a prime example for that. This earlier this week, we had a inquiry for doing a flat work job on a really nasty driveway, and it happened to be someone that owns a construction company here in this area as well, and they go through a lot of washing companies, or just an individual guy or whatever. So, and he's skeptical because our prices are is our prices reflect our work. We're not the cheapest, we're not crazy, but we know what we bring to the table, and we know what it costs us to perform said work. So the price reflects in that, and that was his thing, was, oh man, that's kind of high for this. And so, what, look, we'll do it. we'll do it at your personal house for free. We'll do your house for free. And then you tell us if it's worth what we say it is or not. And so we went and did it, and you can go on Google and look in his comments, one of them up there, very stellar 5-star review. Just like, man, look, I've had plenty of guys that I've hired in this field, and it's always like a 40-minute blow and go. They're out. And he's like, man, my personal driveway was so bad. Like, they could have just done it standardly like anyone else and left. And he's like, no, they spent over 2, almost 3 hours, and it looks like it was poured yesterday. And this was a like 30-some-year-old driveway. And, it's just more of like, and that's what we told him, is like, we didn't do that just to prove a point. Now, if you want, here's some addresses. You can go look at any of our jobs, and they all look like yours. Because it doesn't matter how long it takes. What matters is that the job is done, it's done right. And if it takes us longer, it takes us longer, whatever. But, when we make a promise to what we say we're going to do, we're going to do it, no matter what. So that was just kind of piggybacking off of.
No, yeah, it's right in line with your name, right? Like,
right.
There's lasting results for the work that we do.
Right.
And you can take that as literally as soft washing a roof, or you can take it as metaphorically as like how you want to represent your business for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, it paints the right picture for sure. What are some of the growing pains that you've went through? What are some of the obstacles that you've overcome and especially at the beginning of this journey?
Well, figuring out personalities and roles on top of that, it's always just going to be interesting whenever you're stepping in and you have 3 heads of the company. Caleb and I are very big picture people.
Yep.
And it's really important because that's great to have. But if you don't have someone that can fill in the details in between, you could be as big picture as you want. You have to figure out the steps to be able to climb that mountain to get to the top.
That is Mark for us all day long.
Yeah.
It's good because like it kind of like it pisses Matt and I off sometimes because we're like, dude, you're not getting the picture. And he's like, no, I get it, but pump your brakes, boys. Like, this is what we got to do to get there. And it's nice because, like I've said before, it's good to have help, and it's good to have the right help because, if it were up to just Matt and I, like this company would probably have like $1,000 at most in the bank account at all times because we would be just, oh, we want to do this, and like throwing in it big picture all the time. But it's having, that right help in the right spot is worth its weight in gold. To, just be able to we get the big picture, and we have somebody that gives us the baby steps to get to that picture. So it's great. Yeah. And that was a growing pain-ish kind of, because it still kind of is sometimes, but we've kind of nested into it now where it's like, we just had to get used to passing off, our different big picture ideas, like the way we just do it. Matt and I will talk about it first. We'll get the picture painted, and then we basically send it off for proof over Mark's way. And we're just like, all right, give us our steps.
Mark's like the sift of all the little rocks that need to fall
and we're
and
like,
make it happen.
Steps to get to this picture. Like, this is the picture we want. This is where we're going, but you tell us how we're going to get there. And, so it works. But, I mean, I don't know if there's any other growing pains really other than just representing the brand as best we can, and just
getting the right software, everything set up. I mean,
that's huge.
That's always going to be a bit of a struggle. Everyone and their mom again has some type of software company, CRM platform, something like that they swear is the greatest thing since sliced bread. But you try it out, and you're 2 weeks in, you're like, man, this is useless for what I'm trying to do right now. So trying to figure out those things, which those are good problems to have. You get to separate the wheat from the chaff and really settle into something that's going to be the cornerstone that you could build off
For
of.
sure.
And that's important, figuring this stuff out now
Sure.
instead of a year or two down the road when we're fumbling around.
Mhm.
Have a few sales guys on board, ops guys, and everyone is just floundering around. You get that stuff taken care of sooner so that everything
Yeah.
is going to be just a smooth machine that's just got all the cogs in the right place.
That's a big thing for any new aspiring entrepreneurs
Yeah.
too, is that's what comes to my mind, is just don't bite off more than you can chew too quick. Like get your in-house stuff done first, before you go chasing big picture, before you go, trying to, blast yourself all over the place. Like, get your at-home stuff done first. Make sure that, you're working on getting your website, get your advertisement, your marketing, like figure out what you're going to do there, how you're going to get that name out there. Because when you first start, in a perfect world, if your business goes well, when you first start, that's the most lax time you're going to have. So, get all that stuff done, get it all out of the way during your lax time before you get busy. When your name does get out there, make sure all those boxes are checked. So that way, when your name does get out there and you do start having work coming in day after day after day after day, all this other logistical stuff is taken care of. You don't have to worry all the time about that and setting it up and, running around like a chicken with your head cut off, not knowing, what's going on. So
For sure. Well, tell people if they want to buy something from you or they want to find you, how do they find you?
for us, you can find us on Google, just Legacy Enterprises Carolinas. And all over the Raleigh area, we've got signages all over neighborhoods that, anytime we do, we plop signs down. Facebook, we're on Facebook, Legacy Enterprises. Instagram, we've got a YouTube channel launching this weekend, actually. So some really cool footage, drone footage and GoPro footage. Like we're constantly shooting, filming, and have like a lot of ASMRs and all kinds of cool stuff. So, yeah, any major platform, Legacy Enterprises, you can find us on them. So
For sure. And tell me this, like this is kind of the way we always close the show out, right? Is I think every entrepreneur has this light switch moment where it's like, okay, I'm an entrepreneur now. I've got to figure out this stuff. I've got to make this stuff work, right? Like how you talked a little bit earlier, is like you didn't really give yourself mentally the option to fail, right? And I think that is even a different experience when you're doing it with a couple of other people, especially a couple of other people that are close to you, right? So what is it like to burn the ship? What is it like to go all in on your business and decide we're going to make it happen? And kind of what's the value of the team aspect in that whole journey?
Well, just coming from something where I was really comfortable and stepping into the unknown, it's just like that first step onto a roller coaster ride. Just kicking it way back as a kid when you've never ridden a roller coaster before. You got your pregame jitters. You have no idea what to expect, and as you're just climbing up that hill, there's every moment of, is this going to work? What if? Those are two of the most defeating words in anyone's mind, is what if.
Mhm.
But just by the grace of God, we've been able to figure this out and step into it with faith, knowing that, hey, you know what? Sure, this can fail. That's always an opportunity, and just something in anything that you do, no matter what. But just trusting and knowing and believing that, even if it does not work out, it's going to be okay. That
Yeah.
really does help out to just be able to take that step and, just look back and like how your podcast is, you see that burning ship back there and just knowing, okay, well, here we are, we're going full steam ahead and
Yep.
trusting each other and
Yep.
taking one step at a time and making sure that we're all on the same page is just key
Yep.
in our success going forward.
And that's our all right down to our logo, the 3 pillars. That's why we went with such a simple logo, but everyone comments on it like, man, it's just like, it's nice. What is it like? What is that? And it's a cool opportunity to be able to tell them, just kind of looking at that, burning the ship behind you, like, looking ahead to what's going on. Our logo specifically is three pillars, and it stands for the largest one. And these are the three pillars that make us who we are in Legacy: faith, family, and integrity in our work. So those are the three pillars of who we are, and that's just really looking behind at that burning ship and looking forward. It's like, what are the things that's going to carry us forward? What's going to propel us forward to the point where we know this works. We know we're not going to fail this at all. And it's those three pillars. That's what we land on. And ironically, there's three owners, and we did not do that on purpose. But so it just kind of it's cool. But yeah, I mean, I think you said it pretty well. So.
Well, I'm excited for you, fellas, truthfully. I mean, I think the journey that you're on is a wonderful journey. And I think a lot of people approach this journey with a lot less resources and teamwork and camaraderie to it. Like you're speaking to a lot of people that are alone, very, very lonely in the entrepreneur journey, and they could be floundering or they could be doing very well. And I think that when you develop that sense of teamwork and that sense of responsibility to one another, kind of like you're on a sports team, you know what I mean, is you would do whatever it took to do the right thing by the people that are standing beside you, and that's a wonderful thing to do, and I think that it's a valuable lesson to learn to feel that way towards yourself too, you know what I mean, is holding yourself accountable to the things that you know that you need to do to accomplish your goals or provide a better life for your family or be able never to tell your kids no, you know what I mean? Like there's a bunch of things that sense of responsibility to other people does for you. It's a wonderful thing. But I appreciate you guys coming on the show, and I look forward to being an asset to you as well. My company's been solving problems for businesses for a long time, so if you have CRM questions or technology or anything like that, talk to me. We have a bunch of people similar to industries that you're in and have some good solutions. So let me know if I can be of help to you. I'd love to see you guys whenever I come up there. I try to get around the Southeast pretty often, but I look forward to building a relationship with you guys, and maybe we'll look back at this in a year and we'll come on the podcast again and we'll have a laugh at how far you guys have come, and your phones will be ringing off the hook the whole time because your salespeople will be selling stuff, and you'll have technicians everywhere, and you never know what it's going to be. But if you keep looking at those three pillars and you just keep trudging forward, it's going to be a cool experience.
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, man, we appreciate you having us on too, and we'll definitely take you up on that offer. So.
Sure. Anytime, my friend. All right, burn the ship.